Yeah, I would
Okay.
have never did that.
That was because James hit it with a ball.
What do you guys think drama is?
My
Hands.
Wait, hands. Taylor.
My school.
Okay.
Women.
Hey.
Guys have drama too. All my close friends are guys. Okay, I'm talking about specific actions. What is drama?
That's it.
I'm talking about people when they're not there to defend themselves.
Okay.
I would say necessary filler.
Okay.
Sex and drugs.
Okay.
Starting rumors.
Yes.
Yeah.
They start
What?
drama.
Starting rumors.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Support for people who need it.
That's life support start drama.
How's that drama? Okay.
Because
I see it.
He's
I
saying
see it.
drama is a life support for people that need it to live.
Okay.
I got you. I feel it.
Guys. Okay, so we're gonna break this message down in kind of three main areas. The what of drama, like what exactly is drama, why people engage in drama, and how to deal with it or what the Bible says about it. So first we're gonna start off just by defining it in a few ways. So some ways that drama can be is slander or rumors, or you talking about someone behind their back. And this could look at rumors could be half truths, but they still incorporate like telling someone's personal business to other people. So in a way, you're still hurting that other person. So there's rumors, there's lies, you're just talking about people behind their back. And sharing other people's personal information that they may not want to be shared with other people.
Yeah.
So specifically, we're going to look at rumors, and we're going to look about talking behind people's backs, in this case of drama. Because drama could look at other things too. Drama could be like fighting your best friend, or yelling at your best friend, or cyberbullying, or anything on social media. But specifically for our purposes, we're going to talk about rumors and lying behind people's backs. And first off, I want to start with our theme verse, which is Romans 12, 1 through 2, which is, so take everyday, ordinary life and offer it to God. Embrace what God does for you, and don't become so well adjusted to your culture, which you fit perfectly into. Instead, fix your attention to God. You'll be changed from the inside out, readily to recognize what He wants for you and for you to accept it.
Nice.
So, in Proverbs 20:19, it says that gossiping about people is betraying their confidence, which basically means like someone told you something personal that they don't want to be shared with other people, and then when you go behind their back and talk about it, you're betraying your friend's trust. So this could look like joking about somebody, because joking could like seem like it's just all fun and games, but really, if that person were to hear that joke, how do you feel that person would feel? Does it have negative connotations to it? Does it make fun of a person for the way they look, the way they dress, the way they act? Things that they can't change about themselves. Have you ever taken part of truth and turned it into a joke about somebody? So basically you may think something about someone that you believe is true, and then you go around and make a joke about it, and that's how a rumor could be started. And this rumor could have really horrible consequences. Bring down the other person's self-esteem, even if you didn't mean it to. Even if you had the best intentions, it could still lead to negative consequences. There's passive gossip, where you are acting like you're just having fun and games, which is just telling the joke. But really, it's still gossip, so it still hurts people in the end if they end up hearing it. And it's harmful because you're still mocking them in a way. So if I, for example, like I'm just going to rag on myself. Oh, look at what she's wearing, or look at how she's acting, or is she really hanging out with them? Like that kind of stuff can come off really demeaning and really hurt people's feelings. And Proverbs 22:10 says, "Drive out the mocker and go out. Get rid of strife. It'll get rid of quarrels, and insults are ended." So by combating gossip, or by saying, "Hey, you shouldn't say that about them," then you're in turn trying to end that gossip. You're trying to avoid a quarrel or a fight with somebody. And these are all examples that can relate to all of our relationships, our beliefs, and our self-esteem, because I'm pretty sure everyone in this room has been subject to some kind of rumor or been made fun of in some way, by a friend, by a family member, by someone you don't even know. I know I have. And before I move into why people start drama, I want to tell you a little bit about my experience with drama, because I used to be labeled a drama queen. in middle school. I used to go to this youth group where I brought all my friends and we were having a good time, but there was a lot of drama that was associated with it. They always fought with each other, they argued with each other, and they brought a lot of drama to our old church. And I was right in the middle of it, not intending to instigate, but I would talk about my friends behind their backs to my other friends and start rumors. And this resulted in a lot of breaking up my friends and breaking up my personal relationships with them. And all this resulted in a big thing where we were all sat down and be like, hey, you guys need to stop it. You need to stop being dramatic. You need to stop talking about each other behind each other's backs. You need to stop fighting each other, especially when you're at church. So that's kind of my experience with it. There's a lot more that goes into it, but this isn't a testimony. So we'll talk about why people engage in gossip, and in this case, rumors and lies. So one thing that goes along with this is low self-esteem of the person spreading the gossip. And statistics show that teens who gossip often suffer from low self-esteem or are shifting attention from themselves to other people because they're experiencing something negative in their life already. They put each other's down in order to attempt to boost their own self-esteem and make themselves feel better without really realizing that they're tearing someone else down. Or they do realize they're tearing someone else down, and then that in itself is just another topic. So they're trying to shift the attention onto someone else in order to kind of protect themselves and to make themselves feel better. So this can give rise to jealousy of like peers' appearances, their possessions, their relationships, their accomplishments. And they gossip to kind of level the playing field and make themselves feel better than that person or make them feel just as good as the other person, which isn't okay. And this leads me into peer pressure. And by peer pressure, I mean that people start gossiping and they don't even realize it because they just kind of go along with what their friends are saying and the conversation that's already happening. And sometimes you don't want to gossip, but you kind of find yourself doing it because you're already in that conversation and you don't know how to switch topics. Often we talk about others behind their backs because they want to feel a part of the group. And it's ironic because gossiping to feel accepted inevitably causes someone else to suffer and make them feel outcasted. I think people need to understand how their words can, one, affect their relationships with others, but also affect other people's relationships with others. So, Proverbs 16:28 says, troublemakers start fights and gossips break up friendships. And I've had firsthand experience with this where a rumor that I started without knowing it broke up me and my closest friend. And we still haven't been able to regain that friendship even though we have started talking to each other. And I'm sure everyone in this room has had some kind of friendship go away, break up because another friend believed a lie that has been said. And in Matthew 12:35 through 37, it says, every one of these careless words is going to come back and haunt you. There will be a time of reckoning. Words are powerful, take them seriously. Those that gossip to you will also gossip about you. So be careful who you're talking to and how you're talking to them. Because even though you feel like you're being accepted into this group, those people in return could be gossiping about you behind your back. And it just creates this atmosphere of low self-esteem. It brings people down. And it's really hard to kind of go against it when all of your friends are talking about it. Which leads me to societal influence. So it's not just our friends that create this. It's kind of a mainstream thing where we're kind of grown up to kind of talk about whatever we feel and whatever's on our minds, especially with media. I don't know about you guys, but when I got my hands on a computer for the first time, Facebook was like my venting source, and I could not control my mouth. So mainstream media promotes a lot of gossip because you can just share what's on your mind and click on a button and not really worry about the consequences because you're not talking to someone straight face to face. And on like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, all the social media sites, society has made it a point to kind of discuss like the personal lives of actors or celebrities, and it's like fame is an open invitation to scrutiny and criticism, and like that's a way for us to gossip. And in return, there's another way that we could look at it too, because it's not just celebrities; it's everyday people. We post things about other people, even if we don't say their names. And in a way, this is another form of gossip that is just perpetuated on social media because people could freely say whatever they want and not have to worry about consequences. And regardless of what you're told, you guys can receive subliminal messages through social media. Like if you see a picture of what a girl is supposed to be, the ideal girl is supposed to look like, or what the ideal guy is supposed to look like, or how you guys are supposed to act, how you're supposed to, what job you're supposed to get. All these things are perpetuated through media, whether it's in like memes or pictures or statuses or commercials. Like you guys keep getting these messages, and it really can mess with how you view people and you view your relationships with other people. And this can all affect how you interact with people, because now that you have this ideal image of what everything is supposed to be, you're not paying attention to what God's ideal image is for you. And God has created you uniquely you for a reason, because everyone in this room has something to contribute to him and something to contribute to the world that he has created for you. And you have to block out society's subliminal messages of what you're supposed to be. Because if you give into and start listening to what society thinks you're supposed to be, you're going to fall back into this spreading rumors, lies, gossiping about people, bring people down, or you're going to be brought down by these kind of rumors or lies. And it's this gossip cycle that's kind of perpetuated with social media, with our peer influences, with our family, and then we end up getting in the habit, and it becomes a habit of ourselves to start spreading gossip. For me personally, I got into a habit of spreading gossip, but I didn't know how to stop it, and I was like constantly spreading things about people. And it took my best friend to sit me down and like yell at me and say like, we're not going to be friends unless you fix yourself and you become a better person. And I really took the time to like reevaluate what I wanted to be and who I saw myself. And then I started really getting involved with my youth group when I was your guys' age, and I really started getting to know God and what God said about me. And I eventually started finding myself talking less and less about people and more about Him, and more about how He's changed my life. So the next section is how to deal with it. I just kind of talked about I kind of immersed myself in my youth group, and I really tried to figure out. I mean, back then I said like, what's wrong with me? How could I be better? What's wrong with me? And now looking back on it, I really just wanted to be a better person. Because back then I didn't feel like a good person. I felt like I wasn't worth being friends with. I didn't feel like I had low self-esteem. And it really is true. People who gossip sometimes do feel low self-esteem, and in order to make themselves feel better, they have to gossip about other people. And it's really hard to kind of get out of that cycle. But one thing that helped me kind of recognize how bad gossip really was a few verses. In Romans 1:29, it compares gossip to wickedness, sin, greed, hate, envy, murder, quarreling, deception, malice behavior. It compares gossip to all that. So when we hear the word gossip, we don't think of anything super bad. But then when you compare it to all the other things, like you really can look at how damaging gossip can be in your lives, how damaging it can be in your friendships, your relationship with God, your own self-esteem and how you view yourself. It really does tear people down. And Ephesians 4:29 says, watch the way you talk. Let nothing foul or dirty come out of your mouth. Say only what helps. Each word is a gift. So this verse kind of helped me reevaluate the way I was speaking to people, because at first I didn't really think about what was coming out of my mouth. I had no filter. And then I started realizing the way I talk to people can sometimes come off a little condescending or a little rude. So I started evaluating my speech, and I tried to fix the way I talk to people. And one way I did that was just paying attention to what I was saying about people and how I was saying it. So what I was saying, I needed to make sure that I wasn't just making fun of anybody, or I wasn't making jokes about anybody that would offend them. I wasn't intentionally or unintentionally hurting people. So anything that I thought could tear someone down, I intentionally didn't say it because I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And I paid more attention to their strengths and the good aspects of my friendships. And I really started trying to lift my friends up, and I tried to support them more than I tried to gossip about them. And then James 4:11 says, brothers, do not slander one another. So I looked at almost all of my friendships as some kind of family connection. Because, in middle school, like, you have the fake family, like brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, dads, moms. I don't know, it was weird. But, like, I showed that love for them, and I connected to them so deeply that if they were really my family like that, I would never say those words about them.
Yeah.
So I just evaluated how I was talking about them with other people, how I was talking to them, and just reevaluating how I was speaking to them. That way I could be more supportive rather than tearing them down. So our words should be uplifting and supportive, but most of us fall short and criticize each other. And I know I personally experience this, especially when I get hurt or when I get offended. I'm really quick to lash out. And I lash out in really passive ways. I gossip about people behind their backs. And I've started to recognize that about myself, and it's something I'm still working on, because when you get really angry, it's really hard to control those emotions. And I've started to recognize as I get mad that I'm like, okay, I need to sit down, I need to calm down, I need to think about what I'm going to say and how I'm going to handle this argument, or how I'm going to handle telling them that I'm upset with them. So my advice to you guys would be really paying attention to how you are in the moment, which is really hard because when you're in the moment, you're in the moment, and it's like it's hard to think about other things. But the way to think about it is this going to hurt their feelings? Is this supportive? Could this really ruin my friendship with them? Does this need to be said? It's those kind of questions that you can roll around your head to see if this is going to be a supportive conversation or if it's going to tear down a friendship. No gossip is innocent. Every piece of gossip can hurt somebody else, despite what you think, despite whether you think it's just a joke. I have plenty of friends who say, I was just joking, but then their friendship is really harmed because the joke was really offensive. Even if we don't intend to cause harm, we potentially can. And we need to become more aware of what we're saying and how we're saying it. So to end it off, I'm going to say our theme verse one more time. So take everyday, ordinary life and offer it to God. Embrace what God does for you and don't become so well adjusted to your culture. Instead, fix your attention to God. You'll be changed from the inside out. Readily recognize what He wants for you and be willing to accept it.